Oh boy. Bringing it on me, kiddo. Let's start the go live.
Apologies.
And we are live streaming. Okay, everybody behave yourselves. I usually pick on one guest, but since there are only two of you, I'm going to say Alex and Kat, behave yourselves. We're waiting for Zoom to come up. LinkedIn, yes, here we go. And come on, LinkedIn, show me our picture. Here we go. I don't have a countdown clock or anything fancy like that. Well, it's not showing us yet, but we are live. Let me go refresh my Zoom. Here we go. Okay. All right.
All right,
Let's have
sending
the
the feed
music.
your way. Have a great
Thank
show.
you very much, Jordan.
Welcome to Next at the Mic Radio, a lively hour of unscripted roundtable conversations with Voice America's longtime, new and upcoming hosts about their inspirations, goals, and insights to help you find your own mic. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's Bonnie D.
Thank you to that voice. Before I introduce my guests, I'll just give first names Alex and Kat. Was that a real person who did the introduction? What do you think? Alex, yes or no? Easy answer.
Yes.
Kat, was it a real person?
I don't think so.
Okay, we've got one yes and one no. That is an artificial intelligence voice created for the show by Robert Cialino, who is the general manager of Voice America. And he worked very hard on that voice months ago when I started the show. And the secret was I wouldn't accept the voice until it could say, "Oh, how those lips can talk." When it got that right, Alex, that was the voice for me. I think we named the voice Kevin or something like that. Welcome, everybody, to Next at the Mic on Voice America Variety. I'm Bonnie D., longtime host, 55 series on Voice America. I love radio. I love talking to smart, interesting people all the time. So I started this show to bring you, to spotlight, to present other hosts on Voice America who, like me, like to talk and like to bring people together, build communities, share information, and let it blast out to the whole world. That's the beauty of radio. We have one host who goes live like I do and one who pre-records, which is interesting, and we're going to talk to both of them and meet them. But first, let me give a little stuff here before we start. Today is, let's see, June 18th. It's the 169th day of 2024, the Gregorian calendar. Used to be the Julian calendar, but Pope Gregory didn't like the way Julian set it up because there was a gap in certain dates. That extra day that came along, leap year, was in the wrong places. So he redid the calendar. I like to think of Pope Gregory as one of the early creatives. What can I say? 196 days are left. It's time for you to get whatever you want to imbibe on New Year's Eve. Don't be frightened. And today is the 25th Tuesday of the year, and I'm the only one who cares about that. So I want to introduce my guests, and I'm going to read a little poem that I co-wrote with ChatGPT. And when I'm finished with the poem, I'm going to ask my guests how long they think it took for ChatGPT to send me the core of that poem. I did edit it, but the core, I said, give me a little intro, a little outro, a full bio for Alex, and a full bio for Kat. All were loaded into ChatGPT. And I hit the submit button. Let's see if you like it, and then we'll talk. So here we go. Next at the mic, voices entwine with Bonnie D and her Scarlett mic, a beacon to shine. See, I'm shining. We explore live radio's community realm with Voice America hosts who are at the helm. Alex Fullick, wave hello, Alex. Resilience is his stride, a business community continuity pro with passion as his guide. Author and speaker sharing insights bold on preparing for the unexpected radio. Alex's wisdom unfolds. Alex, what'd you think?
Well, I'm not so sure about the wisdom part, but the other part was pretty good, actually.
Okay, I'm glad. Well, at least we hit some of the high points there. Kat O'Sullivan, wave. A change maker true. Up with People was her travel venue. Now a consultant and coach, her impact reaches far. She hosts Make Magic Happen Radio, where she is the North Star. Kat, what'd you think? You like that?
That's pretty cool.
I rent these
I might
poems.
have to take that.
I rent these poems out. We'll negotiate the fee later on. That's what I do.
Okay.
So next at the mic, we explore and reveal with Bonnie D at the helm. Every moment is real. Yeah, right. Tune in, be inspired as my guests take the stage in the radio realm. Here, Alex, you're going to have to cope with this. Their wisdom does engage. Alex, today you're a wise person, whether you know it or not. So, so I'm
I'll take it.
delighted. Good. You have to be gracious. Always agree with the host. It helps, as long as you're live, So let me refresh my LinkedIn here. So we are live on LinkedIn. We are live on Facebook on 2 pages and live on YouTube. And I'm so happy to share with my global audience who the two of you are. And I didn't so much invite you as put out a note on the Voice America Town Hall and say, hey, I have this cool show. You want to come on? You both said, yes, yes. There we go. So here we are. Alex Fullick, I'm going to put you on full screen speaker view. You're the only one people are going to see for a couple of minutes. Can you please condense your entire life story into about 3.5 minutes? And the crux we're looking for, Alex, yeah, I forgot to tell you, we have fun on the show. The crux we're looking for is why radio? So Alex, tell us who you are, please, and welcome.
Well, thank you for the invite. I really appreciate being here. And well, my story, I started off in business continuity and operational resilience. Basically, I didn't want people to suffer through crises or disasters. I wanted people to always be able to be empowered, stealing a little bit of your thunder there, Kat, sorry. Be empowered to get through disasters, learn and grow and be better organizations, better communities, better people. And through that, different ways of communicating that message. Hence, I got an email from Voice America, which I originally thought was spam. And I kind of ignored it at first, but I eventually reached out to Dee Daniels, my executive producer, and just started chatting. And I started to realize, hey, this is an avenue I can use to get that message out to not just people in the community or my city or my organization or among friends, but around the globe. And that's how I fell into Voice America. And that's my story of where I am and where I got today. And along the way, I got to write and publish books and, have done a lot of client work and still going strong after, not as good as you, Bonnie, but been around for, I think 6.5, almost 7 years.
Oh my goodness. That's an interesting story. And most of my guests do say that they got that call and they said, what is this? Do I respond? Should I? Would I? Could I? Why would I? What's going on here? And then they do. Interesting, in my case, I called Voice America in 2011 and I said, I want to start a business radio show. Would you help me? So mine was I called the president, Jeff Spinard, who was alive
Oh,
at
yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
And I called and he actually answered his phone that day. And I said, help me put together. And that one show turned into 48 different radio series for one of the
Wow.
biggest business software companies in the world. So I was very grateful that he answered his phone that day. A little bit different. Kat O'Sullivan, we want you to unmute right now, please. And we want to hear your story. And welcome, Kat. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for having me. And full disclosure, I just finished my 6th episode. So I'm a newbie to radio and to Voice America, and I'm loving it. And, I really appreciate the opportunity to share what I'm passionate about in hopes that it will inspire others. And, I believe, Bonnie, that we are only one thought away from transforming our life and the lives of others on our path. And, when shift happens, it's the perfect time to make magic happen, which, by the way, is the name of my show. So throughout my life, I've been known for doing this seemingly impossible, many people say crazy, for making magic happen in a way that's transformational, both personally and professionally. And I believe whether we're facing an unexpected disruption like COVID or any other things that can be downright terrifying, or we're choosing to make a significant shift in order to do that thing that's like been tugging at our heart. But any disruption can be unsettling. And I believe it can also be our BFF if we let it. So it's our opportunity to, as I say, create a magical disruption. And I'm not talking about like hocus pocus. I'm talking about the magic that happens when we do choose to pursue the life we really want, regardless of our age, young, old, anything in between. And that perspective is the foundation for everything I do as a speaker, author, coach, now on Make Magic Happen. And when people get to know me, what they know is I am passionate about challenging assumptions shifting perspectives in a way that helps people see what they can't see, connect dots that they would otherwise miss, create new possibilities that would allow them to pursue that life they really want. And, it's allowing me to pursue the life I really want here in Mexico. And yes, I live in Mexico, and we moved here in the middle of the pandemic, and it's been friggin' awesome. We love it. So
Kat,
the other thing I would share is
keep
that
going.
I often ask my clients, what would you do differently if you knew you were living your legacy now, moment by moment, choice by choice? Because the reality is all of us are living our legacy, either by design or default. And I believe leaving a legacy begins with living the legacy that we want to leave. And what better way than live radio to
Here we are.
expand my reach, my impact? It's an opportunity to share what I've learned on my never-ending transformational journey, turning that impossible into the possible. Unapologetically, by the way.
That's the key, isn't it, Kat?
Yeah, well, and the
Unapologetically.
real key is, how do we do that in a way that we enjoy the journey, step by step, moment by moment?
Thank you, Kat. I mentioned something in your poetic bio I read a few minutes ago, and I looked you up, and I found out that at the age of 16, you called Bob Hope, and you
Oh,
said,
yeah.
I want to be on Up with People. Alex, we have to have this story. We absolutely have to. Kat, just take a minute, please, and just give us what in the world possessed you, and how did you reach him? Talk to me.
Okay, well, yeah. So when I was 14, I saw an Up with People show, and I was just so inspired, and it became my dream. Like, I want to travel with Up with People, but it was just college-age kids. But then 2 years later, they started a high school cast. And I'm like, I am going to do this. And everyone said, there's no way. They're only picking 100 kids from around the world. What's your chance? I said, it's my dream. I'm going to make it happen. And I picked up the phone. I called NBC Studios and said, hi, this is Kat. Can I speak to Bob, please? Now, Bob was big into NBC, and he had done an NBC special with Up with People the year before. So I knew he loved Up with People, supported it. So anyway, it was providential. He was there. They put him on the phone. And I said, oh, Bob, I don't know if you remember me, but we met last year when you emceed the Up with People special on NBC. And I have this amazing opportunity to travel with their new high school cast. The only problem is my parents said, no way, we can't afford for you to do that. And he said, I'll pay for your travels.
What?
And
Really?
he gave me his secretary's phone number and said, I'll alert her you're calling, and I will write a check, whatever it is.
That's because you had the nerve, the chutzpah, to pick up that phone and call.
Well, and I call it my Bob Hope strategy, because really it's all about, believing that something's possible, even when it doesn't feel like it is.
Yep.
And then asking for what you want, believing you're going to get a yes.
There you
And
go.
it's worked. I mean, I have since 16, I've used that strategy over and over again, and it's never failed me.
Thank you, Kat. I want to read for our listeners. Our listeners and viewers may include young people who have no clue who Bob Hope was. Bob Hope was seriously, time has passed, my friends.
I know.
Bob Hope emceed shows. He was an actor, a comedian. He starred in so many movies with Bing Crosby, On the Road to whatever it was, for years and years and years. And he hosted TV specials, and he was beloved and well regarded. He was a kind person, and he seemed to be everywhere. And I just want to read a drop of, we're going to get to your quote next, Alex, a drop about Up with People. So in 1965, J. Blanton Belk created the Up with People, UWP, organization for young adults to interact with the world through positivity and music, bringing people together for the common good, regardless of ideology, politics or religious affiliation, ethnicity, or race. Up with People performed in 5 Super Bowl halftime shows between 1976 and 1986, and on August 23rd, 68, Up with People's first NBC TV special was introduced by Bob Hope and sponsored by Coca-Cola and Reader's Digest. I love to do my research. Thank you
Well,
very much,
thank
Kat.
you.
Had to have that story. So let's move to the part of the show where I've asked each of you to please send me a fictional quote from a movie or TV character or a song lyric. I think that's what we've got here today, that you're going to relate to what you do and what your show is all about. Why radio? That's the question today. Why radio? So Alex Fullick has sent us a quote from Marillion. I learned how to pronounce that, Alex. M-A-R, had to rehearse it. Marillion. It's a British neo-prog band formed in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire. I can pronounce that. 1979. They emerged from the post-punk music scene in Britain as a bridge between punk rock and classic progressive rock, the most commercially successful neo-prog band of the 80s. Here we go. So the quote you have picked is from their song Rich, 1999, the album Marillion.com. And here's the quote. Failure isn't about falling down. Failure is about staying down. Alex, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Tell us, what does this have to do with radio and what you do? Talk to me.
Well, let's face it, lots of organizations, companies have disasters and crises, and sometimes in our personal lives, we try things. What Kat was just telling us, different things, and you have to try this stuff. And sometimes you're going to fail terribly, and fall. And if you don't get up, well, then you really did fail. If you get up, then it's a learning experience. And I find when I'm talking with guests as well, I'm not alone in that. I've fallen and failed so many times, and I'm sure there's many more to come, but I don't sweat about it anymore because I know I'm learning, and everything is a learning step. And I've talked to CEOs, I've talked to best-selling authors, disaster psychologists, and just friends and colleagues that are in my industry, and they've all shared things where they've fallen flat on their face. Things didn't work out they wanted it to. They've had issues in their organization. And that's a part of what I like to talk about on the radio show, is share that. What did you learn? Because there are people out there sometimes that will listen and say, oh, well, nothing, that'll never happen to me. That, I'm above that, or they're even too scared to admit that something could go wrong. So sometimes if you are talking with someone or you're listening to someone, then you can say, hey, I'm not alone. Maybe it is worth taking that risk. Maybe it is okay for me to try it. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Would you rather say that you tried it and failed, or that you never tried and could have got something amazing out of it? So that's what one of the messages I like to get through on the show is learn from all these mistakes or these trips. I even have one of my books has Watch Your Step, the slips, trips, traps, and falls of resilience planning or business continuity. And it's taking some of these learnings that people have told me over the years and sharing that with other people, so that if you're feeling alone, you don't want to try something or scared to try something, you're actually not alone. People have been there before you. And I like to use the analogy now that you're on a path of learning, growing, a path of resilience. You're not the only one on that path. There's people ahead of you that you can learn from. And if you slip or have a mistake, there's people behind you who can learn from you as well. So you're never really alone. And I really like that about sharing this on Voice America, all these different experiences from CEOs to disaster psychologists, like I said, in different groups. And that's why when I hear that quote, when I hear that song, it really resonated with me. It's like, yeah, if I don't do anything about it, if I don't learn something from this, then I really did fail. So when I hear that, it's, get back up, dust yourself off, try it again, still take another step forward, and you'll probably succeed where you want to go, and maybe even further, because you've got a whole new set of learnings to bring with you. So that's
you,
what
Alex.
that quote means to me.
Very, very eloquent. I wanted to comment that, to me, preparing for the unexpected, I'm looking at the title of your show behind you. The unexpected isn't just what happens to you, but sometimes it's what happens when you learn after that, isn't it? The
Mm-hmm.
unexpected, I have a new skill. I have a new experience. I have learnings I
Yep.
can share. You
Agreed.
didn't expect to be that person after the unexpected happened to you, and then you are unexpectedly somebody else, smarter, more agile, more resilient, right? And we've all
Yes.
done it. And the longer we live, the more unexpected crap is going to happen to us. I'm sorry to say it that way, but isn't it true? Absolutely. So thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. And I will go listen to the song after the show. I'm sure I will. Sure, I will enjoy it. Talking about songs, Kat O'Sullivan has sent us a song as well, an absolutely gorgeous song that I am familiar with. It's a crossover country pop song written by Mark D. Sanders and Tia Sillers and recorded by Leanne Womack and Sons of the Desert. It's the title track on her album, and it was released as a single. It was #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Single and Tracks, the Hot Adult Contemporary Tracks, #14 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's considered her signature song. It's the only Billboard #1, Kat, for both Leanne Womack and Sons of the Desert, and it was a 2001 CMA Award for Single of the Year. Only 2 million copies were sold by October 2015. Only. That was a big number back then. Today,
Yeah.
and 2,093,000 digital copies by August of the following year. So it was in the digital world. So here's the lyric. And Kat, take your 3 minutes and tell us. It's when you get the choice to, I hope I don't cry. When you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. Who wants to look back on their years and wonder where those years have gone? Kat, talk to me. Sit it out or dance. I hope you dance.
I love that song. I listen to it regularly. And I think we have a theme going here because, the unexpected happens. I mean, COVID was obviously a huge one. And the interesting thing to me is that people responded and reacted to that in very different ways. Same thing, but different choices. And I don't want to say that to judge any of those choices, just to acknowledge that, whatever that unexpected thing is, we are always at choice. So the first thing that really resonated with me is that we're always at choice every moment, no matter what's happening, good, bad, anything in between. And, when we focus on what's wrong, it only leads to things like anger, frustration, anxiety, stress, but when we choose to focus on what's possible, we can make magic happen in our lives, which is the focus of my show. And, the reason that I'm loving this opportunity is to get that message out there that we are always at choice. And sometimes people don't want to hear that, So, and then the other thing is, choose to sit it out or dance. Now, I've often shared how I've experienced many different kinds of dances when that shift happens, whether it's my own design or default. Sometimes that dance feels like, that romantic waltz, up close, personal, smooth, fluid, which is helpful when I need to connect with somebody. But other times it's like all that jazz, lots of energy, expressiveness, improv, especially when things do not go as planned, and they rarely do. Then, of course, there's the hustle, lots of sidestepping to avoid negativity. And when I need a good laugh, you'll see me doing the funky chicken dance. And then, of course, when it comes to shifts, there's the tango. It has complex moves, abrupt changes in directions to deal with the unexpected, unpredictable, and frankly, it can often feel out of control rather than the beautifully choreographed dance I think it's supposed to be. Which brings me back to choice. We get to choose how we're going to dance through life. And last, there's the issue of regrets, looking back. And in prep for my episode on how to fail at retirement and create a meaningful life, I scoured the internet to find the most common regrets as we reflect. And I was not surprised to learn that they often center on themes like living an authentic life, wishing you had the courage to live the life that you really want and not the life others expect. And I've been there. It's easy to fall prey to that one. And at the top of the list, we're also nurturing meaningful relationships, not pursuing passions and experiences. And again, it's back to choice. I mean, we get to live a life without regrets by choosing the life we really want that's going to bring us joy and fulfillment and make a difference in people's lives. And again, that's really the message for my show, is that we are at choice. We do get to make magic happen in whatever circumstances come our way.
Thank you, Kat. I love the dance analogy. I was a dance instructor back in the disco era. Don't judge me, Alex. He's looking at me like,
Oh, I hope I
seriously?
did justice to the
Oh, you did. I taught cha-cha. I taught line dances. I taught hustle and a couple of other dances along the way. But I met somebody who was a dancer, and he booked us to teach line dances at a high school. I was living in Eugene, Oregon at the time. How I got there, I don't know. And I never know where we end up. Choice, I'm not sure. Anyway, he booked us at a high school that was about an hour away from my house. And I went there and I found out that they expected us to dance and to teach 250 people signed up.
Oh,
And the theme was something like "You Should Be Dancing." I think we called it, like after Saturday Night Fever. That was the era. And I was teaching in high heels on a Formica table in a high school cafeteria, line dances to 250 people. And it was shocking in so many different ways. But he and I were battling at the time. And so snide looks were being exchanged in front of 200. So I went to I think you'll get a kick out of this. I went to the staff at the high school and I said, I can't dance on top of a Formica table. You know the problem, you know the potential risk. I'm going to fall. I'm going to break a leg. I said, could you build me something, a stage, something wood? And by the way, I'm doing as much work as he is. Could I have equal pay? Well, they said, no, he booked the class. He's the teacher. You're the assistant. He gets $4.35 an hour and you get $2.20 an hour. I kid you
Wow.
not. And they said, if you want equal pay, Bonnie, you're going to have to start your own class. I said, it's not worth it. Just build me a stage. So the next week I got there and there was a wooden stage. We kept 175 students in that class out of the 250 who started. It was
oh my
an
gosh.
unbelievable, but it was line dances, and he wrote a book and stole all my dances and copyrighted them as his own. Anyway, very interesting times. Hustle is a beautiful dance, and it's very, very fast and done well. It's poetic, and it is a choice to dance well. That's all I'm going to say. As a dance instructor and a performer, it's a choice to dance well. We'll just leave it at that. So thank you both for the quotes. I'm very motivated and inspired by what you each chose and song lyrics. Sometimes we get a lot of movie quotes. Today was song quote day. Now let's go to the discussion statements you each sent me. I'm going to read a statement and we're going to talk about the challenges and joys of hosting radio. That's where we're going to focus right now. And let's see how many we can do. We've got about 27 minutes left, plenty of time. Alex, I'm looking at your statement number 2. You say one of the greatest challenges on radio is finding guests who want to share their experiences, as many people feel they have nothing to offer others, that their experiences or opinions don't, quote unquote, pass muster. Alex, can you unpack this for us, please?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you can both relate to finding guests and the challenge that comes with it. I have talked to quite a few people over the years that I think, for whether meeting them on a show, a conference, or a client site, anything like that. And we just get talking, and I thought, that'd be a great topic, come on the show. And right off the bat, it's, oh, I don't think so. Well, we don't have to film it. It could just be audio. So don't worry. No one will see you. It's like, no. People fear putting themselves out there and say, well, don't be afraid. I said earlier on about the sharing experiences and the lessons learned will help other people and help yourself. But some people are really afraid of, if they show their vulnerability, what's my boss going to think? What are other people going to think? They're going to look at me in a negative light. And no, I don't think they will at all. I'm certainly not. I'm excited. I want to talk to you about this. I want to learn from you. But some people think, the opposite, and they don't you'll follow up, or they will give an initial, yeah, sure, or, and I know it's not every single time, but they'll come back with the excuse, oh, my boss says I can't do that. Well, your boss can't tell you can't talk about your personal life. So, but I know why they're saying it, and I understand, they're fearful of putting themselves out there and making themselves look like they failed at something. But really, if you come on and share, and you're talking, and like both of you've got listeners around the globe, then you're sharing it with a lot of people, and you can help a lot of people by putting yourself out there. And a lot of people think that no, my story's not good enough. There's somebody else out there, and don't have that inferiority complex. You've got something to share. You always will. You always have. But some people think that their experience isn't unique, that they aren't as good as other people, so they don't want to share, and they don't come on the show, or they suddenly what's the expression they use these days? Ghost you.
Oh yeah,
And they
I
just
know about
disappear.
that. Yeah, there's a vulnerability in sharing, Alex, isn't there? And Kat,
Yeah.
the vulnerability is, how will I look, and will I like what I say and how I come across, whether it's video or just audio? I've recently been interviewed by a couple of my upcoming guests who have their own podcast. I don't call this podcast, I call this live radio, very old fashioned. Yours is a podcast, Alex, because you pre-record. Kat and I are doing live radio, and I see the difference in the energy level when you're live, as we are right now. It is what it is, right? I call this a free fall. And I don't use the word authentic anymore. I call it real deal with a hyphen. Alex, you're real deal. You're the real deal. You're real, you're out there, you're talking, you're who you are. And you're asking people to be a real deal on your show, aren't you? You're asking them to
Yes.
talk about themselves. As far as getting permission, my show is my technology show. Sometimes people who work for big companies are under, shall we say, a guided gag rule where they can't talk about anything about the company, and they have to get permission because we're talking technology. So I sometimes get people who say, I have to ask my marketing department, and they can't, and I understand that. But
Yeah.
Kat, do you have any issue with? Go ahead, Kat.
Yeah, so I have a little different scenario. I'm on the empowerment channel.
Yes.
So it's more inspiration, motivation, as well as how-tos. But I have a plethora of keynote speakers in my realm, in my sphere of influence. So when I decided to do this, and I, was doing an initial 13-week pilot series, Voice America was shocked that within a week I had all 13 guests,
Yep.
Lined up, blah, 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 blah. What I have found challenging is it is live, and we invite people to call in.
Oh,
It's challenging to get people to call in.
yes.
And so today, I had my show earlier today. I actually had 2 people call in. I'm like, yes, because that's where the vulnerability in this particular, realm, I think, comes in, is people willing to call in and ask a question or share, something that could be pretty vulnerable. And it was, but it was great. But that's been my biggest challenge so far, is just getting people to call in.
Yep. That is a question. And I'm going to ask you, Kat, do you screen? Do you have somebody to screen the callers before you put them live on the air? Do you have a delay, or do you just take whatever it is?
Oh, I just take whatever is. I mean, it's screened only by my sound engineer, who puts in the chat, so-and-so's calling from,
Such and such. Yep. Interesting. So
and
you've got the vulnerability as the host in taking the right, Alex? She's got the vulnerability
yeah.
in handling. Yes, I did live TV in Great Neck, Long Island for many, many years. I did it for like 15 years. I had four TV series, and a couple of them were live. And at one point we had callers, and it was rough sometimes. Really, really rough. I did one on the college admissions wars, and I had young teenagers who were getting ready to go to college. We talked about the prep schools, and we talked about the SATs and all of that. And I think we talked about passing a drug screening or something that came up. I might have my topics. I'm vulnerable right now, kids. Which topic? This was a long time ago, but we had a caller who said, this is going to make everybody laugh. This man said, Yes, my wife and I give our children marijuana cigarettes because we want them to know what it's like and to have that experience under the guidance of a parent. And these kids are sitting there and saying, what just happened here?
Mhm.
I also had somebody call in on a show. It was about suicide or it was about something, and somebody call in and talk about their vulnerability at that moment in time. So there is a vulnerable risk
Yes, there
when you
is.
take callers. And I say to you, bravo. I don't take callers on my shows because I have panels of 4 people on most of them, and
Mm.
the time is very much constricted to that roundtable conversation. Alex, have you ever thought of having a caller when you're doing a podcast? Arranged a
Well,
caller?
I've done a lot of live events.
Mm-hmm.
I've done quite a few of those with Voice America. So when we are broadcasting live for 5 hours straight, over a Monday and then another 5 hours on a Tuesday, sometimes our guests will give you their opinion on a
Mhm.
topic or something that they saw, or they will be negative towards an exhibitor at the conference or something. And you just have to suck it up. I do tell people, be yourself, be
Mhm.
open,
Yeah.
don't hide who you are. If there's something you want to say it. So I let, outside of, you know, uh, curse words, I
Mhm.
let people say what they want to say on the live broadcast, but it's sometimes rather interesting when they do let things slip, and
Yeah.
even though it's not being filmed, your jaw just kind of, did
Yeah.
you just say that?
Yes, true. Well, I like Zoom because I have the power of the microphone, don't we, Kat? And I had to silence a guest on one of my, I do a special called a Crystal Ball Prediction special where I invite all 350 guests from one of my series from all year, and the first 50 or 60 to sign up. I have 9 or 10, and they each get a 3-minute prediction in their area of technology. I used to do it with 16 people in 1 hour. Now I only do 9 or 10. Oh my goodness, you're not brave anymore, Bonnie. Anyway, my cardinal rule is no politics, no doom and gloom, and no politics. Go anywhere you want, talk politics. Go anywhere, doom and gloom about artificial intelligence. We're not talking about that. And somebody was veering into the political realm, and it was getting in my eyebrows. We're going, what? So I just gently tapped the mute the mic of that guest, and I said, Bob, we've gone astray here. Thank you very much. And I went to the next one, and okay, Mary, you're up. And it went that smoothly. And I think he apologized afterwards. But that's the power of it's better than a delay because I can stop Alex that microphone right away. But live is live.
Yeah.
And you're right, when you're hosting events, certainly. So thank you both for that. Kat, I'm going to, well, you've covered a couple of your discussion statements already, but I'm going to, let's see now. We talked about live radio opportunities. Yeah, let's do this. You say being able to facilitate lively discussions with guests who challenge assumptions, share different life experiences and perspectives is a joy much needed these days. Kat, give us a little overview and we'll see what Alex has to say. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. That's
Picked a good
really
one.
needed today. And
Okay.
I mean, I guess my perspective is, let's face it, everyone's stories is precious to them. It includes a lot of chapters that have contributed to who they are, their perspective, their assumptions, the way they hear and interpret things, and their core values that, drive the way that they think, the way they feel, the way they act. The caution, which I like to share, is it's their truth, not, their truth with a small t, not the truth with a capital T. So everybody's story is unique. It brings a valuable perspective. And I think as a host, that's our responsibility to make sure that people are heard, that they are respectful. And it can be challenging. And the reality is we can't fix what we can't see. And, my role as a facilitator, as a host, is to create a safe, nurturing environment that helps people make that shift from judgment to curiosity. I mean, insatiable curiosity that's going to respectfully reveal and challenge assumptions about what else is possible. So I see my role as a host as asking insightful questions and helping people see what they can't see, helping them connect dots. And, that's partially by having a lot of different guests with different perspectives.
Thank you very much. Alex, you want to say something back to Kat? Go ahead.
I agree with everything that Kat said, and I would add that for my part, even though my show is pre-recorded, and we sometimes have an outline or agenda, we almost barely ever get past the first question without going completely off topic, and then when you can do that and your guest is comfortable doing that, they open up a lot more. Because, oh, you said, Kat, you mentioned such and such. Well, what did you mean by that? I've always felt such, XYZ on that topic. And all of a sudden, they don't feel as though they have to follow a script, and they start sharing more of themselves and going off in a different direction. They never thought they were going to go, but they're sharing more information. They're being more authentic, and they're much more comfortable. And when that happens, I have no problem playing the dummy. It's like, oh, what did you mean by that? Oh, I don't get what that means. Or my
Bring them
perception
out.
was always this, my experience. So I like giving a platform to guests to allow themselves to be themselves and say what they want to say and open up. And you find that when you do that, that's when they really start sharing the real secrets and the nuts and bolts of the things you really want to touch on. And they don't even know you're doing it. Well, they do now after listening to this.
Kat, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think we have this amazing, unique opportunity on radio, whether it's live or, whatever planned, to model what it means to have respectful conversations where there are different perspectives, different opinions. And, that is really needed today. I think so many of us are taught how to have difficult conversations or conversations where there's grossly different perspectives. And so I think it's a responsibility and an opportunity for us as radio hosts to demonstrate that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
I
That's
agree.
why I like the roundtable, because I host a show on Monday nights called Read My Lips, Cool Conversations with Creatives. And I break out of are you a singer, a dancer, an artist, a photographer, or do you do ceramics? That's not what creativity is to me. Alex, you have created your life, your show, your perspective, your personality. Kat, same thing with you. So I talk to coaches and travel experts and architects and doctors and sometimes attorneys and authors of the strangest kinds of books. And it's a roundtable with 3 people. But what I want to tell you is it's the same format as this, where they send me a fictional quote or a song lyric, but instead of discussion statements, they send me the statements about their creativity. And then I'll pick one from each and I'll read it. Then they'll unpack it. And then we can go around the table. And way it resonates with other people. Yeah, that reminds me of what I do, or I didn't think about that. And the eye-opening, and they get to meet each other, and they meet where I'm hosting the show. They get to meet. I've had guests on some of my shows end up collaborating, writing books together, write projects together, fundraising for one is a coach. She helps girls learn how to code in elementary schools. Another one is a network computing expert, and they put a project together at Disney World. And it's always amazing to me. That's why my special brand is Roundtable Conversations, which the 2 of you are on right now, because people get to see who else is out there. And Alex, you made a comment in your discussion statements. You said the greatest joy of being a host, even on topics you might believe you are an expert in, is that you find out how much more there is to learn when you listen to others, meaning your guests. Alex, can you give us an example of that?
We don't have the time for me to go over all those examples. There are so many.
Let's pick one.
Well, being in my industry, I grew up in the industry with specific steps you're supposed to take, procedures that you need to have, and ways of doing things, building a business continuity program and the way you put disaster plans together and crisis management plans together. This is how it shall be done. Step 1, 2, 3. After talking with so many people, I found that sometimes, I always kept running into issues with that. Now, after talking with Bonnie and Kat, I realized what I was doing wasn't the best way of doing it. They just taught me something new because they shared their experience, how to do that differently. If I had done that differently, based on what Bonnie told me, I could actually get this done better and faster. Wow, and the more you talk to people and the more they share, the more you can take that back in your own life and put things into practice. I even ended up writing a book about that, the business impact analysis, where you identify your processes and all the things you need in your organization to keep running. A very high level description there. But a lot of people run into issues when they're doing it. After talking to many people, I found out what some of those issues are and how to deal with it. So I wrote a book. If you're going to do it, here's all the things you should be aware of and what you can do to make it work better. So listening really makes a difference. Like they say, we've got 2 of these and 1 of these. So use the ears more.
Thank you. Very interesting. And thank you for using us as examples of what you're learning.
Yes.
We appreciated that very much. I think a few minutes ago, I was mentioning that I was interviewed by 2 of my guests, and they were from that creativity show, Read My Lips. And I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about as their only guest these were pre-recorded podcasts. I thought, what am I going to talk about? Well, they asked such interesting questions about my life and my journey, overused word there. I ended up bringing out parts of my own history that I hadn't remembered that I remembered. And I listened to some of them after the fact when they were posted a couple weeks later. And I thought, did I really say that? Did I really go there? Did I do that? Was that important? It was. It gave me the opportunity to bring up things that the host valued in me that I was like, oh, well, I did that. Who cares? They cared. They cared about me. And I think that's the role. I didn't say job. That's the role of a host, is to make your guests feel welcome, to honor them, to respect them, to meet them where they are, to see what their vulnerabilities are, and to get them to meet you on the common ground of your show so that they benefit, you benefit, and your audience benefits. And that's a very tall order, isn't it? That's a lot to think about. Alex, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, if you make it about people, you will get the best from people.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amen to
Positively.
that.
Yes. And that's why I do my little opening poem that I co-write with ChatGPT. And then I ask my guests to tell us who they really are. But they love where I've honored them, as the 2 of you, I think you did, honor them with a poem that hits the highlights of who you are and how you presented yourself to me in your bio before the show. And then we get to find out the real story of who you are. So that's interesting. What time is it now? 49. We have 6 minutes left, 7 minutes left. I'm just going to ask for I have a lot of trivia stuff you're going to really enjoy, but 1 sentence, Alex, if somebody was considering becoming a radio host, podcast host, what's 1 piece of advice you would give them? 2 sentences I'll give you. Kat, get yours ready real fast, and then we're going to go to the trivia. Alex, what would you say to somebody?
Give it a shot. You will never fail if you give it a shot. And the learnings you will get from it is second to none. And the new people you will meet and the people you will work with, you'll have that with you for a lifetime.
Okay. Kat O'Sullivan, what's your advice to a newbie like yourself? You're already so veteran already, Kat. You're so far ahead. I don't even believe that you just started. I'm sorry. I can't accept that. Kat, what would you say to somebody who's a real newbie? Go ahead.
I would say, first and foremost, it's not about you. It's about your listeners. And what is it that you're passionate about that could change their life? And really focus on what they need, not what I need to say, but what do they need?
Thank you. Focus on your audience, focus on your guests. What do the guests need to say to reach the audience? What does the audience need to hear? Thank you. I have some fun trivia, and then we'll close in a couple minutes. So here we go. Famous birthdays, June 18th. Are you ready for this? Paul McCartney is 82 today. Can you believe that? His full
Yeah.
name was James Paul McCartney. He was born in Allerton, Liverpool, singer and multi-instrumentalist of the Beatles. He wrote Penny Lane, Blackbird, and Eleanor Rigby. After the Beatles, he formed the band Wings and had a solo career. He's won 21 Grammys. Before fame, you may not know this, he met George Harrison on a school bus when they were children. And then later on, he joined John Lennon's skiffle group, the Quarrymen, when he was 15 years old. After George Harrison joined the band, they renamed it the Beatles. The Beatles won Best Music Original Song Score Oscar for 1970 Let It Be documentary. Paul was nominated for his song Live and Let Die, the theme song from the 1973 James Bond film. And here's another little piece of trivia about Paul. I have it here somewhere. Hold on, I'm scrolling up and down. Paul McCartney in 2006 turned 64. He started writing when I'm 64 when he was 15 years old. I just want to throw that out. Today is also on the other end of the musical spectrum. Blake Shelton is 48 today. Country singer. His single Austin hit #1 on the country Billboard for 5 weeks back in 2001. His albums were gold certified. He was the male vocalist of the year at 2014 CMA, and People magazine called him the sexiest man alive in 2017. Cat's nodding. Before fame, he began playing and singing guitar in middle school and wrote his first song at 15. Seems to be a magic number. He was a Denbo Diamond Award winner in Oklahoma at 16. I don't even know what that is. Okay, YouTube, these are going to shock you. I hope you're both sitting down. There's a gentleman named La Divaza, Divaza, who's 26 today. Happy birthday. The reason we're celebrating it, Alex, is because he has 10 million subscribers on YouTube. Only 10 million. And on TikTok, 14 million fans. He does comedic videos, that's comedy, commentaries, challenges, and vlogs. He released his first song titled Cachete al Suelo under Warner Music Mexico in 2019. Well, on TikTok, we have a young lady named Salome Brimhall, who is 32 today. She only has 13 million views. She's an influencer, Cat. She posts fashion, fitness, and lifestyle and mom content on her Insta and TikTok pages. She started with travel photography, and then she had twin daughters, and she started her own brand of clothing for twins. And then on Insta, we have a young person named Jakari Bint, B-I-N-T, who's 23. Poor thing, only has 2.2 million followers on Insta, but 2.6 million on TikTok, and Spotify only 40,000 monthly listeners. Dancer and entertainer, what can I tell you? Okay, today is Clean Your Aquarium Day, International Picnic Day. If you have an aquarium, Cat, you got to go home and clean it. International Sushi Day. It's National Jessie Day. If you know anybody named Jessie, just wave hello to them. It's International Splurge Day. A Chicago native, Adrienne Sue Coopersmith, was fed up with traditional holidays. She called herself America's premier eventologist. She founded 1,900 holidays and had the idea for a one-of-a-kind National Splurge Day and National Wanna Get Away Day. Okay, there we go. We have a few more factoids here. In 1977 on this day, Fleetwood Mac's Dreams, remember the song Dreams, went to #1 on the Hot 100, the group's only song to top that chart. In 1977, the same day, Talking Heads bass player and drummer got married. That was Tina and Chris. In 2002, they became Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's #1 first married couple when the band was inducted. That's Talking Heads. On this day in 85, Weird Al Yankovic's Dare to Be Stupid, featuring the Devo-inspired title track, made history as the first album of comedic music ever released on CD. Remember CD? In 1999, Prince, a judge dismissed a case brought against Prince claiming he stole the idea for his cymbal-shaped guitar. The judge wrote, defendant may as well have had this protracted litigation in mind when he lyrically asked, why do we scream at each other? That is what it sounds like when doves cry. There you go. In 2009, Jamie Thomas Rassett, a 32-year-old woman from Minnesota, is found guilty of illegally sharing music files on the internet. Ordered to pay $1.92 million, $80,000 per song. And in 2011, Amy Winehouse, late great, fresh out of rehab, showed up an hour late for a concert in Serbia, stumbled around the stage, and the rest of the tour was canceled. What can I tell you? Those are our holidays. And it's June month of microchipping your pet, accordion awareness, adopt a cat, foster a pet, audiobooks, beautiful in your skin. Cat, aren't we though? Camping, DJ, Oceans and Rivers Month, Zoo and Aquarium Month, Entrepreneurs Do-It-Yourself Marketing Month, Perennial Gardening Month, Fireworks Safety Month, Give a Bunch of Balloons. Alex, that's for you. I'm expecting Home Ownership Month, International Surf Music and Women's Golf, and the foods for the month of June are iced tea, lemon, cucumber, mango, candy. Candy's a food now. Just get over it. Dairy, country cooking, that's a food. Frozen yogurt, National Fresh Fruit and Vegetables Month, Turkey Lovers Month, turkey in June, what? And Georgia blueberries. I discovered a recipe for making blueberry cobbler using Bisquick. 4 ingredients, very, very fast. I've got 30 seconds. So here we go. Here's the closing. By the way, in 2014, Kat, I closed my show with the top 10 tips for women. And the first one was aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. Here we go. Life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Nah. Kiss slowly. Yes. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. Alex and Kat, laugh with me. 1, 2, 3. Force yourself. Never regret anything that made you smile. Work like you don't need the money. Alex, we know that's not true. Dance like no one's watching. When I danced, taught, they watched. Sing like nobody's listening. Love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Get over it. Money talks. Chocolate sings. And last but not least, I stole this line from a host 20 years ago. Thank you for turning me on. Don't go away, guests. Wave goodbye. Jordan, are we out? Thank you to Jordan, our engineer today. Jordan, are we done?
All clear.
Thank you. Bye, LinkedIn. Bye, Facebook. Bye, YouTube. Stop, and stop the recording.